This is Planet Frieza number 79, where down on the surface, one of Frieza's soldiers announces that Lord Ize is about to be born. All troops nearby are called to the rejuvenation chambers. One by one, soldiers line up at the doors as the chambers swing open, and out of the room steps the son of Frieza, Ize. If any of this sounds familiar, a few weeks ago I actually got a pretty interesting comment on a Sparking Zero video of all things that says something along the lines of, hey, I know Dragon Ball Kakami has no sign of coming back, but can you finish Dragon Ball AF? So I decided to look into this a little bit, and since I know Toyble isn't working on their version of AF anymore, it was pretty easy to locate young Gigi's Dragon Ball AF that surprisingly has twice as many chapters now than what I covered all those years ago. Back in 2018 through 2019, I was still pretty new at all of this, but now I feel like I can give you guys a much better quality telling of Dragon Ball AF, longer than the 5-minute videos that we used to do. If you've been missing the fan manga, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the 30+ chapters of this story that we have to go over now. And without further ado, let's hop right back into young Gigi's Dragon Ball AF. Congratulations on your birth, Lord Ize, one of Frieza's soldiers says as Ize steps out of his birthing chamber. Now, don't get me wrong, I have a lot of questions too about this supposed birth, right? Did Ize come out of an egg? And if so, who laid it? But that's a talk for another time. He says Ize has actually been thawing out for many long years, raising even more questions in my head that I'm sure will be answered later on. And he says that his father Frieza actually gave him this name. Ize tells him that he wants to fight a strong opponent, shocking the guards that this is his first request of all things, saying he wants to let loose the power he's preserved over all these long years of thawing. Well, with this request, they have no other option than to take Ize to a planet where strong warriors await. Little did the rest of the 7th know, however, the universe was about to face a danger the likes of which it had never seen before. Up until now, Goku and the others have fought countless mighty opponents and continued to grow and develop in the process. They then finally defeated their strongest enemy ever, Omega Shenron, after a long and grueling battle. At the time of these events, 3 years have passed since the conclusion of that battle with Omega Shenron. Pan is 16 years old now, and she's currently a student in high school within West City as we see her heading out for the morning. On her way, she overhears a robbery/hostage situation going on. Unfortunately, or fortunately I guess if you missed any of these losers, it's the Pilaf gang wondering why they've been reduced to simple bank robbers now, but it's because they've failed at pretty much everything else they've ever done at this point that this is the only way that they're even able to eat now. Kinda sad, honestly, but when Pan shows up, even the bystanders know that the day has been saved. She springs into action and it makes extremely quick work of the Pilaf gang, who, to be pretty fair, are old at this point, so we really just watched the teenager beat up 2 grandpas and a grandma. Again, pretty sad, right? Well, Shu actually surrendered, so Pilaf and Mai got the worst of it, and then Pan heads back to school. I'll save you guys the boredom of a day in the life of a teenage Pan in high school, as her friends just envy her for being as talented as she is in everything and being the granddaughter of the world's greatest hero. Nope, not this one, this one. Later on, we find ourselves in the finals of the next Tenkaichi Budokai. I don't even know what number this could be at this point, with the adult division going on with Papaya Man, otherwise known as Oob, who was the champion of the last tournament and the city's defender of justice, taking on Captain B. Interesting choice of names, but still with the theme of Dragon Ball titles, I guess. I don't think I have to go into the deep intricacies of this fight for you guys to know that Oob just one-shots this guy with the same liver punch Tank gave Ryan. He's down within seconds, making Oob the back-to-back champion, garnering cheers from everyone in the crowd. Even though this is a fan manga, there's something still kinda sad about seeing all these characters that we grew up with age like this. Speaking about Hercule and especially the tournament announcer. At the conclusion of the tournament, Hercule announces that Oob will actually be his successor as well, so it really does look like Oob is the future, being the successor of both Goku and now the champ himself. Back over on the random planet of strong warriors, Ize is not amused with these weak prospects, eliminating them all one by one without breaking a sweat. And hey, does this guy look like Legic? Before Ize starts going nuclear though with his distaste for these weak opponents, the Frieza soldiers mention that maybe the Saiyan who defeated Lord Frieza could be a better match for him, the Saiyan named Goku, which catches Ize's attention. The Saiyan resides on a planet named Earth, so this is immediately the next destination for Ize and the rest of the crew. Over at Capsule Corp, Vegeta is training as usual, and he's actually reached the point where he's obtained Super Saiyan 3 as well. Unfortunately, you know how this type of thing always goes. Vegeta says he's gotten pretty used to Super Saiyan 3, but no matter how hard he trains, he can't seem to become a Super Saiyan 4 still. Apparently, you do need a tail after all, he thinks to himself, angry that he has to rely on this stupid Blitzwave machine again to achieve the same form as Goku, but this still won't discourage him from continuing to get stronger. A little bit of a funny encounter though outside of the training room. When Vegeta walks out, he runs into his daughter Bulla. She asks if he'd been training again, to which he of course confirms, but when she gets a whiff of him, she calls him musty, which stabs him straight in the heart, bringing him down to his knees. This poor guy right here. Back at Gohan's library, this is the first time we've seen him so far this story, as he descends a ladder with reference material for his next study, but all of a sudden, he's alerted by this abysmally strong power headed straight towards Earth. Not just Gohan though, the entirety of the Z fighters from Vegeta to Goten and Trunks, and even Pan and Oob are all on edge from this massive and sinister ki headed straight towards the Earth as Ize makes his presence known, ready to challenge Goku. Gohan drops everything, saying he's got a really bad feeling about this and heads for the landing site of the incoming ki. At the rendezvous point, Vegeta and the boys are already here, followed by Pan, Oob, and eventually Gohan being the last one to make it here, as some of these guys haven't seen each other in quite some time, notably Oob, who Vegeta takes notice of. In my own head canon, I like to think because Oob probably reminds him of Goku, but the reunion is soon broken up by the ship coming into sight and everyone getting ready for whatever or whoever awaits. To everyone's shock, this is unmistakably one of Frieza's premier ships, but the ki that they feel from on board is enough to make them all tremble. The ship flies right past everyone and lands in the distance as they remember that this is Frieza's ship. However, whoever's on board is much stronger than the Frieza they know, but they decide to pursue the landing anyway, anxious for whatever they may find. Ize, although curious of the planet, is dead set on finding Goku at once, so they waste no time in trying to locate a large power level. All of a sudden though, their scouters pick up 6 large power levels headed straight towards them as Vegeta and the others cut them off to discover just what they're doing here. Vegeta demands to know who the hell these guys are and why they're here, and this is when one of the soldiers recognizes him as the traitor defector from Frieza Force many years ago. They then learn that shockingly, this is Frieza's son Ize, and that he's come to this planet to kill the man who defeated his father named Goku. Coincidentally though, Ize isn't here for revenge. He reminds me much of someone like Cell. He just wants to fight the strongest opponents he can find, which is music to Vegeta's ears as he offers to step up and take Goku's place instead. Vegeta steps up and begins transforming into Super Saiyan, and then Super Saiyan 2, and to the shock of everyone, his power keeps growing. He then transforms into Super Saiyan 3 to the surprise of everyone on the battlefield, even Ize, as Gohan and Oob can't believe it. It's been quite a while since they've seen this form. The others stand by nervously as Vegeta and Ize begin their battle, and at first, everything seems relatively evenly matched, but if there's one thing we know, is that this transformation is not something to rely on for the long haul. Ize and Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta engage in such an intense back and forth that I kinda got flashbacks to Goku vs Cell in the Cell games here, with the way this battle looks like it could go either way. Eventually, Vegeta launches a massive Big Bang attack from high in the sky that homes in on his opponent on the ground, but to his shock, Ize deflects it back into the sky. This isn't gonna be quite as easy or quick as the Z fighters may have thought, especially if Ize is hiding even more power with the way he's able to be so evenly matched with Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, and he hasn't powered up once, and I think that that's starting to sink in with everybody. Ize's attitude towards all of this though is much more sadistic than they could have imagined, as he relishes every single second of this battle, saying that Vegeta is the most worthy warrior he's ever faced. For Vegeta, however, he's realizing that Ize's power far eclipses that of Frieza's, and it doesn't look like this guy is even breaking a sweat so far. All of a sudden, a voice speaks to Gohan telepathically as Piccolo reaches out, speaking directly to him from the afterlife in his mind. He tells Gohan that Frieza actually informed him of something terrible that they all need to know. Frieza and his family come from planet Winter, where immediately after being born, and there's still no confirmation on if these guys come from eggs or not, they cover themselves with ice and enter a thawing period. The longer the thawing period lasts, the stronger the warrior being born is. He says that it seems that in Frieza's case, his thawing lasted 5 years, and for his father King Cold, 6 years. However, in the case of Ize, his thawing period was over 50 years long, 10 times that of his father Frieza, as Ize looks to finish off Vegeta and then go on to eliminate the rest of the Z Fighters, which seems quite possible in the near future without Goku. And that's gonna do it for this one, guys. It feels really good to be doing a fan manga again, even though I probably won't be doing them nearly as frequently as I used to. If there are any good ones out there like Dragon Ball AF, I'll be sure to do my best to finish them. And they don't always even have to be Dragon Ball fan mangas either. I'm interested in any anime fan manga that looks good and is an entertaining story. Hopefully this won't be the last fan manga I ever do, but I do think, unfortunately, that the golden age of these types of stories is probably over. That doesn't mean that we can't enjoy the Dragon Ball AF story though, which is gonna take us quite a while to get through, so let's make sure we just enjoy the journey along the way. But anyways, fellas, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like to let me know that you want to see chapter 2 of Young GG's Dragon Ball AF, as only we can tell it. And be sure to subscribe to the channel for more Dragon Ball and comic related content. But anyways, fellas, have a great day. I really hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, my boys.